Welcome to the DplusCast, where we discuss everything Disney Plus and beyond in streaming entertainment. My name's Garrett.
And I'm Will.
And today we welcome writer-podcaster Christian Krausby.
Hey, Garrett.
And welcome back animation comedy writer Greg Hahn.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And today we're going to increase our metabolic output by giving a hiya! Yeah, that's right. We're talking the 25th anniversary of Heavyweights.
Everybody wants to live how they want to live, and everybody wants to love how they want to love. Everybody wants to be closer to free. Everybody wants respect.
You know, rewatching this, I completely forgot about this song and completely forgot that it's the theme song to Party of Five.
Yeah.
Not a show I watched regularly. Garrett,
Really?
were you a regular Party of Five?
I don't know if I was a regular. I think Party of Five was a little before. Like, I was more of the Dawson's Creek generation.
Watered down
Party of
Kmart
Five,
Party
right?
of Five.
Yeah.
Now, the thing of Party of Five, their parents died,
Yeah,
right?
right at the beginning. Like, it's just like they're dead at the beginning.
That's the premise, isn't it?
They didn't kill Dawson's dad until like season 5 or 6, right? Party of Five's like, no, the premise is parents are dead.
They're dead.
Yeah.
Everyone's
It
dead.
was a popular premise at one
And
point.
Matthew
I feel
Fox
like.
is like the guy that has to help everybody out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Matthew Fox, and that's where.
Is he not one of the five?
He is one of the 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the
He's the
first-
oldest
He's the
brother.
number one.
It's
Nev Campbell, Matthew Fox.
Was Jennifer Love Hewitt in it?
Yeah.
That was one of them. And then there was the
J-Lo
girl from
Hugh.
Mean Girls.
Yeah. Lacey Chabert.
Lacey Chabert.
There we go.
Yeah.
And then there's a 5th who I don't know.
It was a kid.
Yeah.
It was the Jonathan Taylor Thomas of Party of Five.
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
So welcome back, Greg.
Thanks for having me.
What have you
Appreciate
been
it.
watching?
I've been watching. Have you watched Sex Education on Netflix?
I haven't.
I've heard it's
been
good.
watching that.
I've heard it's
hearing
good.
I mean, I plowed through it very
Just got
recently.
renewed, right?
Just got renewed for a third season, which I'm very excited for because season 2 definitely didn't end in a satisfactory way. So yeah, looking forward to
Did it
season
end
3.
on a cliffhanger? Or
Yeah,
you're just
definite
like,
cliffhanger.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's more to come. Is what it felt. So that also I finished up BoJack Horseman. You guys,
I'm still
BoJack
2 seasons
fans?
behind.
No? Nobody here.
I mean, I've heard it's
Christian-
Guys, this is the realest show on television.
Greg, you've been shouting to nobody for years.
What do you mean
about
nobody?
how great BoJack Horseman is. Everybody who watches it loves it, but the problem is there's too much stuff out
well,
there.
sure.
Everybody can't watch everything because there just is not enough time in the day. We are on this floating, rotating rock for a very short time.
That's right.
Christian,
we did have time for heavyweights.
we did have time for Heavyweights. I watched it twice.
Yeah.
Christian, what have you been watching lately?
I'm so glad you asked. Thank you so much, Garrett. I just finished the second season last night. The lady and myself just completed the second season of Cobra Kai.
Okay.
How was it?
Which
I
is-
loved the first season.
It's fantastic. It is the very definition of the meal that you didn't know you wanted until after you had it. I was somewhat resistant to it when I heard about the concept and saw like the trailer or whatever the promotional material were, because I thought I really liked the Karate Kid quite a bit. I took Taekwondo and Isshin-Ryu when I was a youngster because I wanted to fight the young Italian kid in my neighborhood. No, I'm kidding. I loved it a lot, and I was worried that they were going to make fun of it a little bit, and they kind of do, but it's all with a tremendous amount of heart, and the humor that's involved is wonderful. The jokes that are told are fantastic. The storylines are surprisingly.
The music's great.
The music is great. The
humor-
Richard
the
Jewell
humor's
is
great.
in it, and he's perfect in it. And he's perfect in it, and because he was in Black Klansman, and he was in I, Tonya, and because his star's on the rise, I kind of want his career to stagnate, so he'll remain on Cobra Kai.
I've yet to see Richard Jewell, but he's great in Black Klansman. And
Oh,
I, Tonya.
absolutely.
Speaking of Richard Jewell and other award, the Oscars, we're recently removed from the Oscars, which begins a new fiscal year in Hollywood, I guess, right?
Yep.
So I recently watched Parasite. I watched Parasite the night before the Oscars, and I watched 1917 the day of the Oscars. And I came back from 1917 saying, if this thing wins Best Picture, and they do this to me again a year after Green Book, I'm just done. I'm done.
I think 1917 is a beautifully made
fine.
film.
No, it's
and it's a
fine.
good film.
It's fine.
It's a great
but,
film.
But maybe it's a great film. But I think
No, it's a good
is
film.
it the best film of the year? Maybe you wouldn't say that if it was not kind of gimmicky. I don't want to.
No, it's a great.
That's all. That's
it's
all
a
I'm saying.
great.
It's not a bad movie.
It's a
by any
great
means. It's a good
achievement
movie.
in cinematography and visual storytelling, but it's not a great movie. It's a good movie. It's good. Like you
Maybe
walk
it's
out of it
even a
going,
great
"Oh, that
movie.
was
Yeah,
good."
I think it could be a great movie and not be Best Picture.
Yeah.
I think that it is a great movie. Is it Best Picture? No, I would agree with Greg that Parasite probably, I think probably is the best picture that came out last
agree.
year.
I had some other favorites, but Parasite was the one I ultimately was rooting for.
That's
at
what
the
you were
end.
rooting for.
I just wanted to see. I wanted to see Bong Joon-ho. Is that his name? Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah, I wanted to see him get up there. What 3-4 times? Did he get up there? Did he get
4
up there?
times.
4 times.
Yeah.
4 times.
Yeah.
Just pounding rails of coke by the end of
Yeah.
it.
I mean, he
That's
was
right.
very excited to party.
He just wanted a
afterward.
cocktail, and they just kept giving him awards. Yeah. Right. Will, what have you been watching?
Oh boy, Survivor season 40
Oh,
came back this
40?
week. Yeah,
He's
What the
wearing-
hell?
two every year.
Dude.
I've
All
been
right.
here
I
for
was
20
like,
years.
I'm not. How? What
Will
happened?
This is
loves
the,
his Survivor.
This is the first time we've had an all-winner season.
Have you watched all 40 seasons
No,
of Survivor?
I've
Will?
probably watched 35, with many of them multiple times. Wow. Yeah. Not in a while.
you
I go through
repeat
phases.
watch
Yeah, sometimes. The
Survivor?
good ones, yeah, for sure.
Like I love The Bachelor. This season is an awful season of The Bachelor. Very bad. Very boring.
I wouldn't rewatch a season by myself. It's always like to try to get someone else to enjoy Survivor and then talk with me
Right, but I
about
would
it.
never rewatch an episode of The Bachelor.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, have you tried Survivor yet?
I tried years ago.
Okay,
I don't
that's
know.
fair.
I think it was during the first Bush presidency. Is that how long the?
I mean,
Yeah.
First Bush?
I'm kidding.
close.
No, I mean Survivor started probably during what, the Clinton presidency. That's how long
I
it's
think
been
it's. I think it actually started in
Clinton
2000.
G
2000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember specifically being a junior at football practice and the wide receivers coach going up to like the lineman coach, "Hey, did you watch Survivor last
Oh my God! It was like you had to have seen it.
night?" Yeah.
The first couple of seasons for sure.
No, Kim and I missed last night's episode. All right, I'll talk.
Did you tape it?
I'll talk to you after practice.
No, my VCR didn't record it.
How interesting to you that Survivor is a communication tool for you.
Yeah.
That you watch it as an in to
Oh, yeah.
talk to other humans.
Yeah, for sure.
It's great.
Yeah. It's the only way I know how to talk with other people is to show them a TV show about lying to other people.
Yeah,
So it's great.
And would you like paper or plastic? Can you present it to me in some sort of challenge?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's great. Look for weekly updates from me on this podcast about how it's going.
Are we at the beginning or in the middle or end?
Premiere was on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. So we're just
in.
getting
It was
started.
a double boot episode though.
See, we're coming towards the end of The Bachelor, and it's been bad throughout. So
Oh, that's too bad.
yeah, it's too bad. You don't. Greg's looking at me like, "Who are you?"
I got it.
What, you
This
got
isn't
nothing.
my bag, guys.
You got nothing.
Not
You're screaming to the rooftops about BoJack Horseman, and I'm like,
right.
"Yeah, I watched 3 hours of The Bachelor." I'm like,
I've rewatched multiple seasons of Survivor.
No, I heard
No time for BoJack.
the thing with The Bachelor though is, and I've never seen it.
Okay.
Is there's too many people whose opinions I respect that are into it, and it's not the case with BoJack Horseman. It's Greg and only Greg.
Oh, that is some bull. Come, all right. I'm not even playing this game. All right.
listen,
Come on. You. Everyone's on the internet. You know BoJack Horseman's good.
yes, everybody
Greg,
knows.
do you remember?
BoJack Horseman's
Do you
good.
remember we went for a hike a couple weeks ago? Almost half the time of the way down was you pitching BoJack Horseman to me.
I believe it. Well, I mean, I buy that.
The thing about BoJack Horseman though is that it's there and it's always going to be there. So what's the rush? Now The Bachelor's on Monday nights, and I've got all sorts of drama that the world is going to be discussing the morning after, and if I don't watch it, I'm missing out.
That's right.
That's right.
You live in a different world than I, Garrett.
That's right. Speaking of worlds, what was your world like when you were, around camp going age? Did you guys go to camp?
I did.
Summer camp?
Yeah, I went to scout camp.
You were a Boy Scout?
Yeah, I'm Eagle Scout.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, right.
Fancy.
See, that's how it always goes. People are like, "Oh, you're a Boy Scout." And they're like, "Oh, Eagle Scout." Like, "Oh, actually, that's pretty cool."
Oh, you can tie some knots.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
I never did Boy Scouts. My brothers did Boy Scouts, and I got dragged to the, what do they call them, the den meetings. Oh my God, and they were so boring. So I begged never to become a Boy Scout, and it was the one thing my mother didn't force me to do. So
Yeah, I did camp. I went to the rec center camp that was run by the town, I did that a little bit, and then I did like an arts and theater camp, which I was actually really
None of it was
into.
sleepover,
Helped.
though.
No, my parents wanted to send me away to sleepaway camp, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
not going.
I like my bed.
no, not happening.
I like my bathroom, my toilet. I like having all of my amenities.
Yeah, maybe it was the wrong move. It would have been more worldly of me to venture out there and get in a cabin or something.
I used to be
was-
homesick as a
no.
kid, which is weird since, as an adult, I moved 3,000 miles away from home. So I'll deal with that someday.
I desperately wanted to go to camp. Through movies like Heavyweights, other films where people go to camp and like have like a awesome time.
Friday the 13th.
I wanted to go to
Meatballs, I think he was
camp
thinking.
so badly, and the closest I got to it was like a weekend Bible school retreat.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry.
Nothing. I didn't
No
make
food
like a.
fights?
I didn't make
No.
a. No, I didn't make like a new friend. Like
You didn't get to canoe with some people.
nobody
maybe?
taught me about myself and my body and life the
Did
way
you
that
try
they-
talking to them like through referencing Survivor? Because I feel it works for me.
I wish I would have wanted so much to experience the things the kids in the movie Heavyweights experienced, but I didn't get the chance. I was always very resentful of that fact.
This movie gets going heavyweights very quickly.
Oh yeah.
I love this movie. I think it's it's not a masterpiece that I would call something a masterpiece, but it's a perfect movie in that it really just achieves everything it's setting out to do, right?
Yeah. It's
Is there anything to be critical about?
I have a couple small minor things I would say.
You
if
know
you
who
want to
else?
start there.
You know who else had minor things to say? Film critic of the New York Times, Stephen Holden, who
where's he at now?
right?
Not on
Dead.
this
No
podcast.
A.O. Scott. Heavyweights is really two movies in one, and they don't mesh. One movie is a no-holds-barred spoof of a Tony Little or Susan Powter style fitness merchant. The other movie is a conventional family comedy that pokes lighthearted fun at the chubby young campers. You know what I say to Stephen? That's exactly what makes this movie work.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy didn't get it at
He
all.
didn't get
I
it.
feel like you remove
at
either
all.
of those and it
He
would
sounds
be awful.
It sounds like Steven went to Camp Apache, is what it sounds like.
He lost the relay.
Yeah.
This movie's got a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah, but a cinema score of A-, which we got. I mean,
How's the cinema score?
Yeah, I don't know.
How's that?
that
work
means
out?
like it's that it aggregates audiences love of
like
things.
various sites,
Yes.
percentages.
No, I think it gives like the people the vote. It's a little more
Gives the
democratic.
people what we want. The Metacritic. It's not Metacritic. Did that get bumped down the
I don't know. I'm on
hierarchy
Wikipedia, Greg.
of these things? Okay, all right.
So Will, it's always fun doing this podcast with you because you've never seen these movies before.
Correct.
It feels
But
like
you've never
I
seen
had not
Heavyweights
seen- I-
before.
oh,
never
wow.
seen
I watched it for the
Heavyweights
first time this
before
morning.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. At like 6:45 this morning, I got up, threw on Heavyweights.
He's really dedicated, folks.
Yeah, it was
Day of the recording.
It was fun. It was good. There were flashes of Apatow where you're like, oh, I've seen this visual gag before. That like the one where they're like, oh, I'm not gonna go to this camp. Cut to he's on the plane. Like okay, I've seen this rhythm before.
Yeah, so let's talk about like the recognizable names in this movie.
There
It
are
is
a lot
the
of them.
coolest that
It's
Tim
unbelievable.
Blake Nelson has ever been allowed to be in a movie before.
I'm Roger. He's so
My
slimy.
question is, where did he go in the movie? He was the recruiter for the camp, and
He's
that
a
was
salesman.
it.
He's
That was
a
it.
traveling salesman, man.
He
Yeah.
he
He
works,
did his job.
He works
freelance
2 weeks out of the
recruit.
year.
That's right. Goes from house to
I
house.
feel like he maybe the idea was he was originally supposed to be like Paul Feig's role, and then like Paul Feig, and then like Tim Blake Nelson had some other thing he had to do, so he took a different role, and then like Paul Feig just took over that. Same
What did you think
character.
Tim Blake Nelson was doing in 1995? Like,
I
no,
I don't know. I just-
that is the role that Tim Blake Nelson was able to get in
Yeah.
1995. Like, you're looking
I
back
felt
on
like
this
he
through the-
disappeared from the movie. I felt like he was going to be a more vital part of the
I mean, it seems
of
like
the
he
camp
was.
or something.
I mean, Jeffrey Tambor is only in like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
well, it's his dad. He's away. He's away from camp. You know,
He's in the beginning. He's in the call home where he's like, I didn't send
Send
you
you
to
to
go-kart
go-kart
camp.
camp.
And then he socks Ben Stiller in the stomach at the end of the film.
I mean, this isn't Ben Stiller's coming out party,
No.
but this is like his star-making performance, no?
Yeah.
And if you're thinking about the way Hollywood is now and how big of a juggernaut, so this movie was written by Judd Apatow. Is it Apatow or Apatow? I like Apatow.
Apatow's. I think we've all agreed as a society
Apatow?
that we're going to call him Apatow.
Okay, the one thing we've agreed to as a society, Apatow. Okay. I remember I was watching this in college, and it was the first time I saw Judd Apatow's name on the screen, and it meant something. I was like, oh my God, this movie's Judd Apatow?
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to convince so many other people to watch this movie because his name was attached to it. This movie's great.
It really is. It's a blast. I've seen it 3 times, right? I saw it once, 1995, 96, around when it came out, and as a kid, I loved it, and I thought it was hilarious. And then, around college age, I watched it again. I wanted to revisit all my favorite comedies, and again, I thought it was hilarious. And now here I am. It's like 15 years later, and it works at every age. No matter, it's an immature, stupid comedy, but I've been laughing at it, for 2.5 decades now.
Yeah, it's like a lot of those comedies of the 90s.
It was incredibly important. I was a morbidly obese child.
Oh.
And so my parents, I remember going to see it with my best friend, again, a kid named John. But yeah, it was full of a lot of like hope, and I was able to identify with virtually everything in it. A lot of shame secretly too. Because I was heavier than all the other kids when they weighed in.
Were you
the movie.
hiding your food the way that they were?
Yeah.
So when they were weighing in and there were actual numbers to the looks of the kids on the screen, you knew that you were heavier than the kids weighing in the movie.
Yeah.
And they only show a couple of those kids, but they finish up with the heaviest kid.
Yeah.
So you were heavier than the heaviest kid at that
Yeah,
camp?
I knocked his ass out of the park. And then I was just kind of like, oh God, yeah. I was full of like so much more hope for Saturday and Sunday, and then until I went back to school on Monday, and I was like, oh, hello darkness, my old friend. But I've seen the movie probably 20 times.
Same
I would
here.
say.
Like I've seen this movie over 20 times.
Yeah.
I owned it on DVD. So glad that I'm glad that Disney Plus exists for movies like this, that it could just be at somebody's fingertips and it might be suggested after watching, I don't know,
Sandlot.
something else. Sandlot, right?
Because that was what it started playing right after. I was like, oh yeah.
There you go.
I haven't seen that movie either, but we'll get to that later.
Well, that's a
Wow,
Fox
dude.
movie.
Yeah.
That's
Is
Disney
that
adjacent.
under the umbrella? We can do that? We can
Yeah,
do
of
those?
course. Yeah.
Is it on? It was on Disney Plus?
Yes.
Sandlot?
It's just Disney adjacent.
Perfect.
This cast is a who's who of juggernauts. Now,
Oh God, yeah.
If you the fact that Paul Feig is as big as he is now, and then you see him
In that cutoff.
in those
football.
cutoff shorts,
Oh yeah.
just moving those hips,
Yeah.
those buns of steel that he's bragging about. One thing I love about Paul Feig's character Tim in this movie is that he's not just the thin counselor, he's the fat counselor who got thin.
Right.
So he knows what it's like to be fat, which I love.
I really thought they were going to lean into that in that party scene when he was like running around the fire too. I thought it was just going to be like, let's see his
I mean, it does explain why he partakes in the food orgy
for sure.
at the end.
Paul Feig was the only star that I recognized from a previous movie when I saw it in the theater.
Okay.
Because
At the
he
time,
was in
he
a-
was the most recognizable face.
to me, yeah, as an 11-year-old
Yeah.
kid, or because I was exactly the same age as these kids were.
Okay.
And so I knew Paul Feig from a movie. Like he was on like Ski Patrol or Ski School, where he does like a version of Dancing in the Streets, the Jagger Bowie duet. He does like a thing to like save the mountain and wins a talent contest. And I'm like,
right.
oh yeah, it's the guy from the ski movie. Okay, this is gonna be great.
Did this come out before the Mighty Ducks? Because that's all I
No.
watching it this morning.
No,
that's all
because
I was like,
it was-
I know all these people from something. And
It
then
was
realized-
billed as like it was advertised as from the creator of the Mighty Ducks. So this was brought out on the back of,
Gotcha.
of From the Mighty Ducks. Speaking of Mighty Ducks, though, Kenan Thompson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Knuckle Puck.
I mean, with Kenan and Kel, I was never a fan of Kel, and with Nickelodeon, and growing up, everybody loved Kel.
I mean, he had the catchphrases.
Yeah, he had
Orange
the
soda.
catchphrases,
Yeah.
which I saw as cheap. It was cheap comedy.
Okay.
right? And I saw
A
Kenan.
critic at the age of
I saw
13.
Kenan. I was like, no. Keenan's doing the heavy lifting here, and I have been proven to be right. Kenan has gone on to an illustrious career.
Yeah.
We don't know what Kel is doing. I hope he's doing well.
I think
Kel does
Greg and I
stuff.
passed him outside on
7-Eleven?
Sunset Boulevard on the way out, on the way walking down here.
he's
Yeah.
buying scratchers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. But one thing about Kenan Thompson in this movie, have you ever met a person have you ever met a person under the age of 40 named Roy?
Well, the lead kid's also named Jerry. Like that's that's an older guy named
Gerald
too.
Garner.
Yeah.
Gerald Garner. Age 11.
Oh my God, we're probably burying it. Let's just go, Greg. Go through all of the famous, wonderful people in this before we go to the main event.
Just before I get to the real famous people, let's stick with the Mighty Ducks. We got
Okay.
Kenan Thompson, right? The guy who plays Goldberg,
The goalie.
from the goalie from Mighty Ducks is in this, and I believe our lead kid, Aaron Schwartz, that actor was also in the first Mighty Ducks movie.
Yeah, I think so.
So,
Okay.
and if you look up Aaron Schwartz now, he really wanted to shake being the kid from Heavyweights.
Is he in shape?
He
I
is
mean, look
cut.
at this dude.
He did an Anthony
Look at
Michael
that.
Hall.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a good-looking guy.
Check out his IMDb page.
Holy
Hire Aaron Schwartz for your movie.
Wow.
He is a good-looking
Let
man.
me see that again.
He is a good-looking guy. Look at that.
You know, he looks like
Yeah.
he looks like somebody who would like show up in Act 3 of a Christopher Nolan film, like dressed in a suit, has like one line, but you're like, oh, don't mess with this guy.
He looks like a on-site reporter for Vice News.
A specific thing, but you're right.
Who else is in the movie?
Jeffrey Tambor.
Jeffrey Tambor plays the lead character, Jerry's father.
And this is probably in the middle of his like fame, his highest fame, because he had Larry Sanders, which
That's
people
probably
watched.
overlapping with this Larry Sanders show. Yeah.
And then this, but then he didn't get huge until Arrested Development. And
Right.
Of course, Me Tooing all around his trailer.
Ben Stiller's parents, Jerry Stiller and Ann Mara, both appear in the
Fantastic.
movie. Peter Berg has a weird cameo.
Peter
Director
Berg.
Peter Berg.
Yeah.
Peter Berg as the camp cook.
We
Yeah.
mentioned Tim Blake Nelson. Also, Alan Covert from Grandma's Boy.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of Adam Sandler
Yes.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
that was.
cameraman.
I thought that was Trey Parker for the first 45 minutes of the movie.
They look similar.
And then I when he's got the beard and stuff, and I had to look it up. I was like, okay, no, it's that guy.
Yeah, it's the other guy.
And Tom McGowan, who plays Pat, the lead counselor character.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you're a fan of Frasier, that's Kenny. He works at the station. He's a big
yes.
recurring character on Frasier.
Yes.
If you're a Frasier fan, like I am,
You love
recognize.
Frasier.
Oh, dude, it's good.
So,
if you love Cheers, and I know
well,
you do,
I love
You
Cheers.
will love Frasier.
I've watched Frasier. I love Cheers. I do not love Frasier. I think Frasier's
You've watched all of
fine.
Frasier?
I
You gotta
watched
watch it
all
from
of
the beginning
Frasier.
all the way
I
through.
watched it all.
You gotta watch all 11
I watched
seasons.
it all. I watched it all.
All right, well then,
It's fine.
respect, bro.
Sophie's choice, Cheers or
No,
Frasier?
I'm Cheers. I'm a Cheers guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So,
He was also.
as long as that's on the record.
It's on the record.
Pat was also one of the slimy reporters in The Birdcage who's chasing
Yes.
Gene Hackman
Yes!
across the country.
Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he is.
And while we're doing cast and crew, one last person. Stephen Brill, director, co-writer. He's known for doing a lot of Adam Sandler films, Little Nicky, Mr. Deeds, Sandy Wexler. He's
Best
in
of
the comedy.
the- of
well,
the
he does
Sandler
comedy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a
We
he
should
had a solid
acknowledge
career.
the director.
It's just remarkable that all of these people came together for this.
That's what I was just wondering. Do we know how much this movie cost to make? I'm doing like a cursory look right now. And I can't
I
find it.
tried to find the budget. All I know is that it did not do well because it only made $17 million domestic. I can't imagine it cost too much to make.
Probably
I mean, a 2-month shoot in the middle of North Carolina on a camp in the middle of the woods. I can't imagine it's too much.
Is it supposed to take place in North Carolina?
No, I don't know. I don't know if they ever point that out, but I just know they shot it in North Carolina.
I thought it was supposed to be like upstate New York, but then he takes a plane
Plane.
from Long Island, which just doesn't make sense
I don't
to
think
me.
they ever say where it is.
Okay.
It's just
Let's say
generic woods.
Minnesota.
Let's say it's in the Ozarks.
or
Sure.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
The Ozarks. Not enough racism for the Ozarks.
I don't know. The finally Apache.
Speaking of
clothes they wore were a little there.
speaking of racism,
Yo, hit me.
I love this when Ben Stiller
Oh my God.
appears
I know what you're
and he
gonna say.
starts calling out to the crowd.
Yeah.
And of course, they're clear jokes.
Yeah.
Like for us, the audience. And he points to Kenan Thompson. He says, I see a famous rap artist. And everybody looks around the room, right?
Yeah.
Because visually, as the audience, you're like, oh, well, he's black. That's why he's saying it, right? But then he says, I see a future president of the United States. And we've
He looks
established
like the British kid, doesn't he?
it's the British kid.
Yeah.
And
Well, that
we've
kid also knows
established-
the vice presidents of the United States, which was very impressive at
Right.
the end
But
of
we've
the film.
established that he's British, but, the the filmmakers clearly like, we need to have Gerald Garner like point out he's from England. Like, yeah, we know. Like, I watched the movie. Like, we were introduced to him. Anyhow,
Because there wasn't. Yeah.
And what 11-year-old boy doesn't have 5 favorite vice presidents?
I mean, when that came up this morning, I was like, "Can I name 5 vice presidents?" And I was able to, but only by like starting today and working 5 back.
Yeah, he had
But-
some randoms in there.
Yeah. I was impressed.
one thing I appreciate most in movies is really utilizing time. And I love how Hitchcock wanted to keep his movies as short as possible. Because nowadays 2 hours and 40 minutes here, 3 hours there. I got a life to live. I got BoJack Horseman to watch, Greg.
You certainly do.
So, Will, have you ever heard of the 17-minute rule?
No,
the
I hadn't.
17-page
I saw that you put that in the
rule.
note, but-
It's not a rule. It's more of a theory. Christian, Greg.
Yeah,
17
for sure.
page.
Yeah,
So-
about
so-
17. I mean, I feel like 20 is also pretty
Sure.
common, but
it's
roughly 15, 20 pages. Yeah.
right. So, but if you Google 17, it's recommended that by 17 pages or 17 minutes, you're wrapping up Act 1. Mm-hmm. You've established your
Yeah.
characters. You've established your world. It's time to just get into it.
Yeah.
We get introduced to Ben Stiller at 17 minutes and 8 seconds.
All right.
I was like, I was salivating. I was salivating at the timestamp. I was like, oh god, I love it.
There's something about these 90s kids movies that just nail the format and really nail like the structure that works. That works.
And not
Where-
just 90s kids movies, 90s comedies. Like if you look
Yeah.
at a movie like Dumb and Dumber, Dumb and Dumber gets you all of the information you need within like the first 15 minutes, and you're off to the races.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because the people that produced and wrote these movies in the early 90s then became successful enough that they got to essentially write the rules?
Well,
Like,
the
that
thing
we
is, I
go
think
by now?
Apatow threw the rules out after
Right.
this. He used
I mean,
to
that's-
follow it, and then he went like, "Why am I following a perfect structure? I'll just like keep shooting because I'm working with funny people."
Who needs an Act
We'll
1?
edit. We'll edit. Maybe. I love Apatow, but
Yeah.
cut it.
He
cut
needs
it,
it- he needs
shorten
it.
your freaking movies,
Yeah.
bro.
Everybody,
They're
everybody,
all longer than they need.
the
to
most
be.
talented people on the planet need an editor. And you
Yeah.
know, at a certain point, you reach the level of power in this town to make what you want and do it how you want it. And you get people like Judd Apatow, who
Yeah.
makes a comedy that's 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Sure.
And you get a Christopher Nolan, who's making like 3-hour movies that could be easily shaved down to 220. And you know,
you have
we
The
all
Irishman.
suffer. And then we get the Irishman. How dare you?
But on the bright side, the heavyweights is the nice short, perfect little
It's
nugget.
lovely.
I have one story criticism. I'm gonna throw it out now since we're
ahead.
talking story and structure. It's missing one little thing, right? The fat kid, the
Which
former
one?
counselor.
Got a lot of fat kids
The
here.
former counselor who's still a fat kid. He used to be. I'm sorry. He's a current counselor, former camper.
Yeah.
And he exposes their stash.
I was a chipmunk last
yeah,
year.
I was a chipmunk last year, and then he exposes their stash. And then later in the film, it's a little confusing actually. They actually are re-upping their stash through something he's hiding. Now at first I'm thinking, oh, are they stealing his personal stash, or is he helping them? And if he's helping them, where did this come from? Because the only thing we've seen him do in the whole movie is expose the stash. So I think the only thing missing, just like if we have one nice scene where Ben Stiller either wrongs this guy or this guy just kind of feels bad for the kids, so we can
Okay,
see
so
where
here's-
his face turn unearned. Is what I'm saying.
See, here's where you're wrong, because he never turns into a good guy. He's capitalizing. He's a capitalist through and through. He says, "Oh, all these kids brought this free candy in here. I'm making nothing off of this, so I'm throwing them under the bus." But
He's a
now
Nazi collaborator.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
I see an opportunity.
Yeah.
That where there is a demand, and I can offer the supply, and I'm going to benefit from it.
He's the
He's just
Oscar
going- he's just
Schindler
himself.
of
Yes, he's just
heavyweights.
Sees the writing on the wall.
Okay.
You're saying he sees the writing on the wall, and he sees that these kids are going to be taking over power.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
he's like Mitch McConnelling. He's going like, whatever. I'll
That's
just bow
right.
down to these.
I'm
the new overlords, and it's the fat kids this time.
If this is the world I'm living
Yeah.
in, I'm gonna figure out a way to be as successful as possible
okay,
within
well then,
the
if that's
parameters of this world.
I mean,
Sounds
if
like a
that's the
Survivor to
direction
me.
of the character.
You know, I'm surprised you didn't read that in the subtext. Greg.
yeah, it wasn't. Well, okay.
Well, I think, to talk about the structure and why it works so well and why we have this very brisk clipping beginning of the film is that, like, the characters that are established are so well drawn. To look at any of the kids we kind of, with the exception of the British kid, who we know he's British just by the way he talks, but
And dresses.
to look at any of them, we know instantly who they are and like what their deal is. The Goldberg from Mighty Ducks, the one kid in camp who's reached sexual maturity by age 12.
Except he hasn't because he's shaving, but he's got. But which, like, weren't you? I always shaved when I didn't have to shave. It made it a lot
shave
easier.
That's how I
too.
started shaving.
I do shave now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like I have to shave, but I can't grow a beard. So it's humiliating to have
Yeah.
to shave because it's to just make myself look human and not patchy. So we got Jerry Garner. He goes to camp. It's wonderful. He's fish out of water, but he's quickly accepted. And then we got Ben Stiller thrown at. How good is Ben Stiller in this movie?
Oh, he's great.
He's great.
I mean, yeah.
He's so great that he repeated the same performance in Dodgeball.
100%.
Yeah, this is the proto
decade later.
dodgeball.
Yeah.
Proto White. What was his character's name?
I don't know, but he reuses two characters because he reuses the fitness guru, and then he reuses his father as Maury. What's his nub? The lighting fixture king in Starsky and Hutch. So he recycles two characters from this movie.
Love it.
This might be his best
Dodgeball,
role. though.
inferior movie to Heavyweights. Inferior.
I'll agree.
Yes and
Thank you.
no.
no,
I
no,
disagree,
you have to have a
but-
take. You have to commit to it.
I'm
It's
I'm
yes
gonna
or
say
no. There's no yes and no on this podcast.
well, then I have to go with Heavyweights as the superior movie
Yes,
just
of
because I'm
course.
more familiar with
Absolutely.
it.
So Dodgeball,
I think Dodgeball,
inferior.
I like Dodgeball more.
I mean,
Well, that's a
Dodgeball didn't touch my soul as a
Well,
child.
you know, Will, that's because you just watched Heavyweights this morning. So I don't know what you were doing when you were a
Dodgeball
kid.
had that really cool moment at the end. It's like very like he puts the blindfold on. It's like
Dodgeball
almost,
did
like,
have Rip
It's
Torn.
a really great like climax there, and it also had Alan Tudyk, and he's great. So
But
Yeah.
Ben Stiller sitting in the window there, just the most menacing. You know, he's saying the villain, clapping his hands. You know, oh, your plot's great, but you know the villain was a little over.
the editing,
Yeah, the
the
editing.
cinematography.
Like the phrase chewing scenery was created for him just going so over the top
Yeah.
and in such a perfect way.
Yeah, and he does that big flip, and then he lands, and then he just starts throwing and breaking glass and walking on it.
Yeah, he's awesome.
and if you see towards the end of that part, like you look at the background and all the parents are like pulling their glasses off of the table. It's great. I love it.
I have a hot take about Tony Perkis, and maybe not so hot, but Tony Perkis, was he that bad of a guy? Because
I agree.
when you're watching the movie, yes, he's a tyrant. He's a tyrant. However, he is more supportive than Jeffrey Tambor.
Oh, absolutely.
He's every single time he's pushing these kids to do
Yeah.
something that, you know, seems like too much for them to do.
Yeah.
He says, "I believe you can do it.
Yeah.
I believe in you."
He's an idiot, but he means well. It's slowly he becomes more and more about money. I've got to
Right.
do this
Right.
and this, but like objectively, like his goal is noble.
If we're doing like a psychological character breakdown of him, he believes in these kids because his father, the lighting fixture king, never believed in him.
Exactly.
Right? So he's taking what he didn't get from his father and transferring it to these kids, which will then lead to his success, which will then get him the love of his father, the lighting fixture king, that he never got as a child.
Exactly.
So, I mean, do we need a spin-off of Tony Perkis?
I don't think that we do, but I do think you have a good point in that. He was a guy that got hired to like run a fat camp, and his crime was like trying to get these kids to lose weight, a little aggressively, sure, but
Glide,
I-
stride.
I think there's a sequel to this movie just called Perkins, and
Let's get into it then. So Christian, this is a part of our program that we like to call Re-IP.
All right.
Where we take the content that we've watched and we decide whether it should be remade, rebooted, or if it should just remain in the vault.
Yeah.
Leave it as it is. So you believe that there is a sequel in there somewhere.
absolutely, I can tell you exactly what it is right now.
Give it to me.
It's gonna blow your mind. So, Tony Perkins is recovering. He's living a hermit lifestyle for the past 20 years or whatever.
25 years.
25 years.
It's the 25th
And
anniversary.
due to circumstances outside of his control, he's given a shot to run. What's the camp called? Camp Heavyweight.
Camp Hope.
Camp Hope.
Camp Hope.
He's given Camp Hope again, and he doesn't want to do it because he's afraid of the monster that he might become. However, it turns out that his old rival is now coaching Camp Apache, and it's Gordon Bombay from the Mighty Ducks.
Which side does Keenan take?
That's just it.
That's the catalyst, Greg.
He's
torn in the middle. And him and
He's
Goldberg
the
are like,
Br-
what do we do?
He's the Brooks of this movie.
Brooks from Shawshank Redemption.
Brooks from Shawshank Redemption. Where he's been there the whole time, and they're like, you can't keep coming back. And instead of readjusting to the real world, Keenan offs himself. He just writes Roy was here into Camp Chipmunk's rafters.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
One of my favorite. There are a couple favorite bits in this movie that I love, and a lot of them have to do with when the food that's being hidden or being found.
Oh my God.
When the two kids unleash their like hordes of like one kid's got it like under his vest and it looks like drugs or watches, and the other kid's got the briefcase and it unleashes clearly meth and cocaine in bags, except it's jelly beans. I love how when Ben Stiller does the raid of the chipmunk bunk, and he takes Keenan's Pez dispenser from him,
Right.
and he unloads it, and the Foley artist had the sound of bullets hitting the ground. So instead of Pez hitting the ground, it sounds like you're unloading a gun, and the bullets are clink 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 clink, clink on the ground. I love it. Small things. Small things, guys.
a deli meat. And flings it up into the air.
Like, that's protein, you know? You need that.
Yeah, it's high in fat,
what
though.
was it? Did you ever hear the story of Icarus?
Oh my God.
Continually rolled the ball up the hill. When he got too close, the ball melted in the heat of the sun. You're all like Icarus.
That was as someone that hosts a history podcast, that was my intro to Greek mythology.
It's there's so many great things in this movie that it's hard to find the flaws.
Yeah. We
Is
can
it-
find them if you want.
I don't know. Every time I watch it, I just go, okay, well, there's this. Like, is it No Country for Old Men? No. Is it Citizen Kane? No. Is it Parasite? Is it saying something about like social inequality and
No,
economic?
it's saying let
No.
fat kids who want to be fat kids be fat kids.
I mean, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. About the camp in general.
Okay, in general.
How
How does
like
it turn
Jeffrey
a profit?
Tambor, his dad, he's the father. He sends his kid to camp thinking this is fat camp, though.
Yes.
Right.
My kid's going to come back having lost weight.
Yes.
And that is not what that camp is normally. If it weren't for Ben Stiller, like these are just fat kids who did their parents never notice?
I thought it was
that
a
these
fat
kids
camp
don't come
originally.
back from camp skinny.
They
Same
come
fat
back
kids are
feeling
going
good
every
is
year.
what matters.
Well, yeah. I mean, they come back maybe with a newfound confidence.
Yeah.
And maybe they think that confidence brings themselves into the next school year, and then they try again the next year, and I don't know. What do you do?
And who's to say how fat they were in previous summers?
That's true. This is also true.
We know it worked for Paul Feig's character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do have Paul Feig as the.
Well, let's
The
admit
after
it.
photo.
Paul Feig just wanted to get laid. That's why he lost the weight.
Paul Feig. What can you say about Paul Feig? What a meteoric rise.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you talk about a guy like he's. I know him from this movie firstly, but now he's a juggernaut in this town.
Yeah.
Paul Feig this very day, Paul Feig has probably more power and more clout in this town than Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah. I would say, if not on par with.
I don't know. Paul Feig's made a lot more money for
Has he?
studios
You think so?
than Judd Apatow.
Yeah. But think about all the ancillary or the proximity-like projects that Judd Apatow was involved with.
That's true. He's big into producing.
Yeah. He's big into taking his piece of the pie.
I love it.
If you know what I mean. I have problems with Judd Apatow as a.
What are your problems with Judd Apatow? I've got several.
I've heard several quotes, because he went on that long thing producing Girls, several of Amy Schumer's movies, from because he's like, I'm just trying to give, these young women a voice. I'm like, well, you're trying to give very specific young women a voice. Let's be clear about that. Also, and the failure to recognize the flaw of being in love with one's own voice. I'm sure, Greg, and I know that I have as well too, where you've written something and it's much longer than you've wanted it to be, and you've come to the point where you're like, well, I don't know how I could possibly make it any shorter because it is what it is and it's perfect.
Yeah. My biggest problem with Judd Apatow is he keeps casting his wife and daughters.
That is
it's a much more
his
simpler.
wife's pretty good.
His wife's fine.
The daughter's okay.
Daughter's like,
She's okay.
oh yeah, there's no other actresses, no other child
He wants his
actresses. in
daughter to
town.
be an actress.
Yeah, great. Yeah, awesome.
throw her
Nepotism.
Yeah.
It's not a problem at all in this town.
they're gonna turn out really great.
To defend Judd Apatow for a second, did
Yeah.
you know, according to this Google search I did, on his first date with Leslie Mann, he showed her heavyweights
Oh, that's
in an
nice.
attempt to impress her.
Way to go, buddy.
That's awesome. In his first date, and then they got married.
Yeah.
That's
So-
beautiful.
So we've got so you've got a Tony Perkis a sequel, Christian.
Yeah, I do.
Could you remake this movie today?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Oh, I
Absolutely
think-
not.
Yeah, I
There's
think
no
if-
way to embrace there being fat people nowadays.
Well, forget
Nobody
that. There's
nobody's
a spec-
appreciating it. in
There's
the
a
same way.
specific joke in this movie that's so good. When the guys and the girls are at the dance, and one of the girls goes, "Why can't they just lose weight?"
Yeah.
And then the girl next to her says, "Why don't you teach them how to throw up after meals like you do?"
Shut up, Becky.
It's like, oh my god, bulimia was funny.
Yeah.
It was so funny in the mid '90s.
It's a very real joke too. And here, let me ask a question. And this is my other criticism for the film is that like, where are the women at? You know what I mean? Like we had those.
Why are there no girls at this?
We
camp?
had the girls in the beginning who serve as a catalyst for them trying to as a lesson for them to loose up, and then there's the hot nurse that everybody wants to bang. And that's
very
that's
That's a
it.
fair point.
That
yeah.
is true.
I mean, if you're a young, overweight girl and you go see this movie, you're
Yeah.
probably like, oh, great.
Yeah.
They get this stuff. I don't get it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
I guess
well,
I'm
that's
gonna
a tough topic to think about. But like, if you're talking about,
I think in a modern heavyweights, it's a boys and girls camp. If we're remaking this movie,
Right,
which
for
I don't
sure.
think we should do.
Yeah.
it's so
I
weird
think-
because it's very interesting to think about because there's no place on this earth that probably has a co-ed fat camp
I mean,
unless it's The Biggest Loser on NBC. It's just like unless it's a reality show, therefore being a reality show. I just think because men, women, the way their bodies work and how weight loss amongst different genders is completely different and how weight is viewed in society amongst those different genders, that I don't even think that exists.
I think
to
it'd be
this
more
day.
likely to have like a sister camp and a brother camp. So it's like
Yes.
just across the lake or whatever, and then you get together for the.
So you have the
whatever.
sister fat camp teaming up with the brother fat
Right.
camp to
take
on
out Camp
this-
MVP.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
There
I
we
think
go. We
you-
solved it.
you
We
would
solved
have-
the world.
I don't think it could be necessarily as good. It would have to be a little bit more real, where one of the kids hits rock bottom and
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
and Brooks himself, we'll just say, at the midpoint. That's what I think. That's it would be a little bit more real with somebody actually genuinely struggling with. We see them like.
But then
sneak
it's
off to go
not.
throw
Then
up.
it's not Walt Disney Pictures presents Heavyweights.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They can cover in pretty like light, especially when it comes to like sports movies. They can tackle some pretty serious subject matters as they do in like Remember the Titans.
Totally.
know?
They don't do it very well in Remember the Titans. That movie doesn't age very well. I don't know last time you revisited it.
I just watched the point where they come back from football camp where they're on there making their state championship run.
Ah, okay.
I started halfway through.
Oh, okay. You started post-racism.
Yeah.
When racism was solved.
I did, yeah. Well, not everybody in the town.
That's true.
They can't go to that. The kid from Scrubs tries to warn Sunshine not to take him to that restaurant.
Right. Yeah.
And they can't do that.
We're
And
going
then
to have you back for Remember the Titans.
I know everything there is to know about that. I'm still the F word. I know everything there is to know about that film.
We'll bring you back for it.
Yeah.
So, we don't think you could remake Heavyweights, right? No, it's just a subject matter you can't.
I mean, you're not going to replicate
You
the
wouldn't.
comedy
Let's say-
of it.
You
either.
probably
that's the
could.
answer.
You wouldn't. There's nobody who's sitting in a Disney office saying, "Oh, we got all this stuff on there. Let's take Heavyweights
Yeah.
and let's do that. It's just not happening. In an age of body positivity and fat shaming
and also a place where we know more about like health in general. So like, how do you have like, I think it's easier to get away with like, oh, well, if you just like go for a walk a little bit, you'll be fine. Whereas like in today's day and age, there would be so much more nutrition that's going on at this kind of camp that it's harder to live in that world if you remake it today.
Oh God, can you imagine the Twitter backlash to like, let's say you took Heavyweights and turned it into a Disney Plus series. Every episode, like Twitter would break down. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they're talking about keto on Disney Plus.
I will say I do think that you're giving a potential remake for Heavyweights more viralness than it's going to actually get.
Hey, listen, nobody thought Baby Yoda was going to be
That's true.
the biggest thing on the planet.
What are you talking about?
You've never heard of Baby Yoda?
No. Of course, everyone thought Baby Yoda was going to be the biggest.
Nobody
thing on
knew
the
Baby
planet.
Yoda existed.
Disney
Oh well,
didn't.
if it didn't exist, well, sure, but as soon as it did, everybody's brains blew up. And the
Yeah,
internet
but
Twitter
exploded.
did, but like Disney didn't because they didn't produce any merch.
They didn't
for it
have any
before.
merchandise ready
well,
for it.
I mean, as I understand, the reasoning was that they
I don't buy it.
trying to keep
I
it
don't
under
buy
wraps.
it. I don't
No?
buy it.
That's not.
I don't
that's
buy
a
it.
$5 million like.
They lost a
spoiler.
lot of money
Yeah.
by
You-
not
you
having
think-
dolls for that thing.
You think the Walt Disney
they screwed
Corporation
up?
publicly
Maybe
shared
they screwed up.
I think
Publicly
they screwed
shared.
up.
Listen, they can screw up. They can screw up
they
all
just
the
screwed
time.
up.
I don't think they screw up. No, they definitely screwed up by not knowing that it was going to be a big thing. They did not say
'Cause they
Jon
should have been
Favreau,
ready. It should have been in the
We're going to
queue."
sacrifice our stock price for your creative vision. I don't buy it.
Yeah, agreed.
Will and I don't buy it. That is the definitive
Official stance.
opinion and stance of this podcast that Walt Disney Company just had no idea what they had.
I have a fun fact.
Hit me.
Another fun fact about Heavyweights.
Okay, give it to
Two arms were broken during the production of this movie. One, Aaron Schwartz, when they're having the food orgy, he's running around, he slips on something, breaks an arm. They have to like they put all that stuff.
The lead
like
actor.
The lead actor,
Yeah.
yeah. They put all the like whipped cream and stuff on his face
Yeah.
so that they can have a different kid play it to finish it. And then they shoot around a cast on his arm for like a couple of weeks. The other one is a like an adult unnamed part of the crew. Apparently there was one night where the crew all decided to get drunk and jump on the blob. It did not go super well. And there's a broken arm. So
Oh my god.
yeah. The fourth kid in the like if you look at the cover where there's like the three main kids and then the fourth one that like is the one that's sitting on the toilet who's eating a burger.
Yeah.
He wrote like a 10 things you didn't know about Heavyweights. One, I was in it.
Okay.
Wow.
Article. So that's where I got those from.
So I can't believe we've been talking this long about Heavyweights and we haven't brought up the most valuable player of this entire movie. And it's Lars.
Oh yeah, God. That's another criticism I have. I don't appreciate the way that that German or Austrian people are portrayed. in this.
Okay, that's fine. I do love
real
the comedic timing of him being asked, "Where are you from?" and then the music swells up and we get a crescendo and then it cuts far away. I mean, he is so good, right down
wonderful.
to hitting on the nurse and talking about the body system.
Yeah, have a look.
So good. And then when Bambi starts attacking him, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's Bambi. I don't know if you knew that.
He is the one that does the more villainous things, whereas we feel like Tony Perkins is still like you understand his motivations. This guy is the guy that like just enjoys that he has power and so it helps us hate the bad guys in this a little bit more. He does a good job with it.
So good. I think the answer is we should just let Heavyweights remain.
Or do Christian's idea. which
Or
is
do
great,
Christian's
too.
idea.
Yeah.
Or really, what you'd probably do is just do a spin-off of
Yeah.
Tony Perkins doing his own thing that doesn't involve a fat camp, but it's just
One
revolves
more
around Tony
thing,
Perkins.
a
Oh,
different idea.
okay,
Tony
well,
Perkins, if we're connecting worlds here,
Yeah.
becomes Jigsaw.
shared universe.
After spending that time in the cage, getting electrocuted by little kids,
Yeah.
he gains an appreciation for life and wants to share that with other people.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
then we get the Jigsaw as a hero story.
I like that.
Thank
the
you.
screenwriting, though, this is a script that I feel like. Listen, it's not going to be displayed in the Academy Museum that's going to open in like 2075, but it's a script that I feel like if you're going to film school and there's a screen. When I went to film school, the screenwriting professor, it was very ineffective. Okay, especially the age we were and the time we were. He said, "We're going to watch a movie, a terrible example of screenwriting, and we're going to watch a movie that's an incredible example of screenwriting." Well, the awful example of screenwriting, he showed us the Royal Tenenbaums, which people love. Right?
Love it.
People just love it. Okay,
Might be my favorite Wes Anderson movie.
wonderful. The movie that he said was just the perfect piece of screenwriting was 8 Men Out. Right? It's a fine movie about the Black Sox.
It's a difficult
It's just
barometer.
it's hard to sell that to some college age kids who
Right.
are coming of age in the age of Netflix and are just watching movie after movie, and they see Royal Tenenbaums and they're like, "Oh, this is awesome." And then you got a professor saying like, "No, watch this boring 2-hour movie with John Cusack and David Strathairn about throwing the World Series."
Now,
This
I
is
will say
perfect.
this just to play devil's advocate on your
It's a good
professor's
movie.
behalf, is that the Royal Tenenbaums, I'm sure as a script, individually as a script, could be problematic. Wes Anderson's movies, editing, script, production design
Absolutely.
are all one thing.
Right.
What
To
I'm saying
unpick-
is it was a bad example.
Sure.
Like, don't
I mean,
do
it sounds
that.
like your professor was kind of a snooty,
That's right. He
right? He just
very
like
ineffective.
he had his opinions, and he's like, "Royal Tenenbaum sucks. I'm going to play it for all the kids and tell them it sucks."
But you got heavyweights. And if you're teaching screenwriting,
Yeah.
there's so much plant and payoff in this script. The Hershey kiss, the piece of foil that he turns into the Hershey kiss that Ben Stiller does to get the British guard to come over.
You'd make your queen proud, Nicholas. Where he gets really soft, and when he's just got that 1,000-yard stare. It's wonderful.
It's hard to like actually have a conversation about this movie because I love Ben Stiller so. This is probably my favorite Ben Stiller performance.
Oh yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I
It's
don't
up
think
there.
that's
It's up there.
controversial.
Is that not controversial?
No.
Had he
Not
won
at
an
all.
Emmy for this point for the Ben Stiller show when he was in the movie?
Oh, I don't know. I've never watched the Ben Stiller show.
I haven't either.
Oh my God.
Well, it was a blip.
pretty-
It didn't really
pretty good.
go long. So I mean, you could have revisited it since, but at the time, it was nobody even knew it was on.
How am I
didn't
supposed to
know it was on.
revisit the Ben Stiller show
You
when I
haven't watched
still haven't watched
You
BoJack?
still haven't watched BoJack.
You can skip BoJack.
But I've already watched like the first like 5 seasons of BoJack. I gotta finish it, right? No, there's so many shows that I've just given up on because I'm just like, who has time? Who has time? People say you gotta watch The Watchmen. I'm like, they've already given up on The Watchmen. Why? I could take that 12 hours and put it towards something else.
Watching The Wire.
I've watched The Wire like 4 times.
You know what I've started and made it through, and this is gonna upset you quite a bit. Garrett.
Okay, I'll brace myself.
I've made it up to season 4.5, maybe, of The Sopranos,
Okay, why haven't you finished
like
it?
9 times.
Why haven't you finished
I
it?
just get tired with it.
What?
I just
Is that
get
when
tired
he
of
ends
it.
up in the coma? When's that? Is that about?
No, that's season
4.5?
6, part 1.
6.
Right about the time Robert Loggia gets rearrested,
Oh, it's so good.
I tend to tap out. But here's the thing: I'm familiar with the story of all of it. I know all the characters. I'm not exactly sure how well the families kind of stuff and ties in. The first season I don't care all that much for. After when does
They really
BP
get their
die?
stride. The first season, they were still trying to write within the world of television, and like each episode stands on its own.
Yeah.
But season 2, they really
Yeah.
go off to the races. I try to when I tell people about The Sopranos, I tell them, listen, if you watch it like you're watching a comedy, you'll burn through it so quickly because it's one of the funniest shows ever written.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Why haven't you finished it?
I don't know. I just kind of get
get
right around the
bored
time
with it?
Robert Loggia gets rearrested. Right around the time that I think Tony Soprano's at the wedding and they have to like run around outside the house and it's snow. Is
That's
any of this
season
image?
5.
Okay.
That's,
Then I've made
that's
it
the
to
end of season 5. So you
Okay.
finished season 5.
I guess I've been that far then.
Every time I rewatch The Sopranos, I'm still trying to shed the 5 pounds I gained during my last rewatch of The Sopranos because
wow.
every time I rewatch The Sopranos, all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I think I need to get
more
some
pasta.
I think I need to make some baked ragout and some have some gabagool and some salami and get some imported provolone in my life.
Sounds great. I haven't watched any of it.
So welcome to The Sopranos podcast. So what else can be said about heavyweights? I feel like we've said it all.
I forgot my
Oh, you have a
thought you had a
surprise?
Yeah,
single.
I just to kind of like show shed some light on who I was at the time when I saw
Do you have a
this.
photo?
I have a photo of
Were
myself.
the rest of us all svelte kids? None of us were heavyweights.
I'm not
Just
svelte
Christian.
now.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm not talking about now.
So I have a picture of myself with my shirt off when I was that age.
Oh, no.
I'm going to pass these two photographs around and let you guys take a look at that.
Was this a before and after attempt?
No, those are just
Why did you
befores
assign view? No, I know that. I mean, these are the befores, obviously, but I mean,
for
you
different
were
angles.
doing before.
Talking to the mic.
Yeah, those are all before.
I'm sorry. So this is a before picture. We got
Well,
a front view and
I've-
a side view.
To be fair, like I've been a before photo for my entire life.
Yeah,
Sure.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
yeah, big kid.
Man, you look great.
Thanks. Well, I am considerably older now.
Do you still,
Garrett,
do
do
you
we
still
have
have that
some-
birthmark?
No, the birthmark's gone.
Oh.
So I actually
you get it removed?
this might be too real for the podcast.
Look at that computer.
Yeah, I had I went from about 350 pounds to down to 186
How
at
tall
my
are you?
skinniest. I'm 6'3". I looked like Michael Stipe when I was 186.
I've never been tall.
Yeah.
So like I never like when I was like 12, like my doctor said, oh, maybe he'll grow out of it. I never grew.
Yeah.
I never grew. Never got that growth spurt that was supposed to like svelte out the added paddage.
Hey,
of
it
my
might
belly.
still happen. You never
It
know.
ain't happening.
Nah, I gotta hem the pants.
No, I gotta watch every calorie.
Yeah.
If you just stop watching Sopranos, I think you'd be fine.
You know, there's a reason why I haven't started to rewatch The Sopranos because I have to shed the 5 pounds from the last rewatch before I start another rewatch. I can't talk more about this, but I mean, what else can we say about Heavyweights? We've said it all.
Yeah. Wonderful
Watch it
film.
again. It's good.
Wonderful film.
Wonderful
Good
film.
movie.
Check
It's a
it
good
out on
movie.
Disney
I watched it
Plus.
with my wife yesterday on Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day. How romantic.
You're trying
Yeah,
to
it was
get
great.
her
We
to-
went to IKEA and then we wandered
get some
around.
meatballs?
We got some Swedish meatballs.
Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
Real low key Valentine's Day. Picked up a whisk. Picked up a cutting board. A couple small things. Went home. Watched some Heavyweights.
You guys
Sounds-
ball?
This is
Sounds
all her
romantic.
idea. This is all. I mean, she knew I had to watch Heavyweights, but
You got yourself a
I could have
keeper.
waited till this morning. But she was like, "No, let's just watch it tonight."
That's why you married her. Christian, what do you got to plug?
You can, if you would like to find none of this fun entertainment and comedy stuff, you can check out my podcast. It's called First Tragedy, Then Farce, available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, you name it, wherever you get your
podcasts are found.
Yeah. It's a history comedy podcast. We try to take a look at a current event, and then we try to find some historical precedents for it, and we try to look at it with a comedic light. So,
I love it.
yeah.
Love it. Greg, what about you?
You can follow me on the internets, on Twitter at It's Greg Hahn. And if you like toys and action figures, that's all I post on my Instagram. So follow me on Instagram at It's Greg's Toys.
Yeah. Will, what about you?
I manage this podcast.
Yeah, every time I go to you,
Yep.
I'm expecting one of these days. Well, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are at DplusCast, DplusCast. It's DplusCast all spelled out. Please rate, review, subscribe, tweet at us angry things. I don't care. Like, slide into my DMs. Tell me that you think I'm an idiot. It will actually make me feel heard. And I can take that to my therapist, and we can build on that, and we can build my confidence like they did at Camp Hope. Anything else? You guys got anything else to say?
If you want to see the picture of Christian, check out the Instagram.
We're not putting that
at
on Instagram. That was for
DplusCast.
us. That was for us. That
No,
was
it's
a
going
private
up. We're going to
moment.
get it up there.
That was a private moment.
You're going to see it.
That was for us. That was for in the
Yeah, we'll
room.
see.
Well, as always, thank you for listening to the DplusCast. Keep on streaming, or feel free to go outside, get some sunlight, get some fresh air. Vitamin D is good for everybody. Thanks for listening.